Do you swear that the evidence you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. I see you.
Hello, South Africa. Today on Mzansi Brief, we're breaking down the explosive 74th day of the MATLALA Commission. The spotlight is on a R10 million investment that businessman Suleiman Karim claims was lost in a venture, with the notorious Vusimuzi Cat, MATLALA, and Brown Magotsi. But the real shockwave hit when Karim admitted under oath that his supposed high-level political influence was a total fabrication. He confessed that he was coached to posture as a powerful ANC insider to pressure MATLALA into paying back his millions. Was this a desperate act of debt recovery, or a rare look at how political power is faked to fix business deals? Stay tuned as we deconstruct the R10 million lie that has the Commission and the nation in shock.
The first part of this process will just involve me leading you through your statement without any intrusive questioning. So in the first stage of the process, you don't need to be suspicious of me. There will come a point at which you do need to be suspicious of me. We will give you warning when that point is reached. But so that you know where we're going and how it is going to run, just know that until we reach the end of your statement, I'm not going to ask you any questions that are of any intrusive nature or designed to trap you in any way. The purpose of the first part of the questioning is merely to enable you to have the opportunity to put your version on record without being interrupted or disturbed. So there are really two ways in which you can do it. If you would like simply to read your statement into the record, we could do that. We could do it that way. If you would like me to ask you a couple of questions to facilitate that process, we can do it that way. You must choose.
I think, Council, you can proceed.
Okay. Yeah. So to begin with, let me just clarify that you have what you need to have in front of you. You should have 3 files, a small file with your statement in it.
Yeah.
We'll call that the statement file. And then 2 larger files which have exhibits in them.
Yes, I've got them.
Great. If we can start with the statement file, and maybe start at the end of the statement, just confirm, first of all, that on page 11, the signature is yours.
Yes.
And can you confirm that the contents of the statement are true and correct?
Yes, they're true and correct.
Then if we can take the Commission through the statement, going back to page 1, in pages 1 to 3, you set out certain concerns that you have and reservations of rights. The statements, the paragraphs speak for themselves. Is there anything you would want to add or emphasize in that regard?
No, Chair. No, Council, sorry.
Then if we move to paragraph 4, onwards, you describe your relationship with Medicare 24 Tshwane District and Mr. MATLALA. Maybe if I can ask you to deal first with, essentially to read paragraphs 4 to 7, which deal with your relationship with Mr. MATLALA, before we get to the contract with Medicare 24.
Thank you, Council. So in this section, I deal with the nature of the relationship. I deal with the nature of the relationship with Medicare Tshwane. This will provide the Commission with inside detail and into the topics identified in Rule 10.6. As I have stated elsewhere, I provided funding to Medicare 24 to the amount of 10 million rand. At some stage, to the best of my recollection, during June 2024, I received a call from Mr.
Sorry, Mr. Karim, it sounds like you are too close to the mic here.
Okay. I'm just worried that you won't hear me from here. Is it fine from there?
It usually gets indicated to us if there are problems with the sound. Just go, yes.
Am I audible? Am I audible now?
Yes.
Can I suggest the problem may be that there are 2 microphones on? Maybe switch one of them on.
We've always used them.
Oh.
Yes, yes. No, switch it on.
Can we switch it on?
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem. Yes, Mr. Karim.
At some stage, to the best of my recollection, during June 2024, I received a telephone call from Mr. MATLALA requesting a meeting with me. I know Vusi in the private, I know Vusi as we both operate in the private security sector. I'm a director and shareholder of Fusion Tactical Team, which is my security company. Prior to this, to the best of my recollection, I had no engagement, relationships, or dealing with Vusi beyond knowing in a general sense who he is.
And then from paragraphs 8 and 9, you describe Mr. Matlala's approach to you in relation to his tender with SAPS and wanting finance or funding from you. Can you read 8 and 9, and if there's anything you want to amplify, please do.
So at the meeting, Vusi, he had obviously told me he's the director of Med24 and that he had won this contract to provide medical services to SAPS. He then needed or required funds to perform under the tender as he had overcapitalized on the establishment of his tender and therefore encountered cash flow problems. He insisted that he was geared up for rendering the services in respect of the tender. He invited me to see his business premises in Pretoria. I visited the business premises and I confirmed it was state of the art. I was impressed from what I had seen, and I could appreciate that Mr. MATLALA could spend a considerable amount of monies in the capitalization of this tender. At the same time, when I visited the site, I then met also a Michael van Wyk, who was introduced to me as the CEO of Medcare24. Michael advised that he owned the Medcare24 franchise and that Mr. MATLALA was a franchisee. Michael had, during our discussions, confirmed that he'd be assisting Vusi in operating and executing this tender. At the same time, I needed to verify this. I then reached out to a friend of mine, Mr. Opa Brown Mkhotsi, who is from Fabricating as well, and who's someone that's known, who's connected. I then asked him to please verify and check if really this tender exists, and can he come back to me? Mr. Mkhotsi then agreed to check for me. He reverted and said, yes, it is a valid contract. Vusi and I agreed that if I advanced the 10 million, I would be paid an additional amount of 10 million over a 3-year contract period. The repayment would be made at an equivalent of 10% of all payments received until the amount of 20 million was going to be paid. In terms of our agreement, we then set out the payment structure, which is attached. After July 2024, I would call Vusi from time to time and ask him whether he had received a signed SLA from SAPS and when can I expect a copy of this agreement between Medcare and SAPS, as we all had an agreement confirming our agreement. Because we had an agreement which was not signed, we agreed that we'll sign the agreement once the SLA was signed by SAPS. He experienced some delays in obtaining the SLA from SAPS, but there was no cause for concern as Med24 had already commenced in rendering services to them. This seemed quite plausible to me, as in my experience, formal contracts often lag behind and before implementing the contract. I asked him if he had issued any invoices and when could I start expecting payments. He then stated to me that he stated to me he would commence payments upon receipt of sufficient funds from SAPS, including the payments due to me. Towards the end of 2024, we had still not got any payments in from what Vusi told me, and I began pressing Vusi to provide me with invoices and payments details from SAPS. At this stage, I was becoming despondent due to the non-payment from Vusi. I again then reached out to Mr. Brown Mkhotsi I then asked Brown to please check if Vusi is really receiving work and if the contract was going to be paid. Brown confirmed that he is delivering and we will be paid. During about December 2024, after being pressed to start making payments, Vusi advised that I would commence receiving payments shortly. This was a relief to me. Shortly thereafter, in January 2025, Vusi contacted me and requested further money to service the tender. I advised Vusi that I could not provide further funding at this stage because I was not receiving any payments towards the funds advanced, and that Ziggy needed cash for other projects and ventures. I was also concerned that the 10 million rand had already been advanced and I have not received a single payment. I would then, to verify this, contact Brown, for example, inquire whether payments were being made under the tender. Brown would always revert back to me based on what he allegedly knew, and also I had no way of how Brown was verifying this. I need to place that on record. During these exchanges, Brown confirmed that the tender was still in operation and that payments were in progress. In February 2025, payments started trickling in. By mid-March 2025, I received net payment of 1.75 million, which was paid into the Mies Investments business account. Before any other payments could be received unexpectedly in March, Vusi sent me a message regarding the cancellation of Medcare 24's contract. I informed Brown of what Vusi informed me and requested him to find out what was happening. Brown then agreed to inquire. Brown then later sent me a message stating that he had spoken to the minister. Brown advised me that in order to keep Vusi, I should inform Vusi that I have a good and direct relationship with the minister and his office. I advised Brown that this was a joke because I had no relationship with either the minister or his office. Brown's reasoning was that I should make Vusi believe that I have a relationship with the minister's office and that he would communicate directly with the minister's officers if, when, and required. Brown was clear that this was required and calculated to make Vusi believe that my involvement and my assistance with the minister and his office would be crucial, and therefore Vusi would therefore need me to pay me my money, or would need to pay me my money. In truth, I did not have any relationship with the minister. I then advised Brown this did not make sense to me without disclosing his close relationship with Vusi, which I only picked up after the commission, that Brown and Vusi were communicating, and I did not know about that. And then Brown advised that I should trust him, that I would be paid these monies owed to me if I followed and did what he suggested. I was extremely concerned since the cancellation of the contract with Vusi meant that Ziggy stood to lose the money it advanced. I needed a lever with Vusi to try to get paid and agreed to follow Brown's advice. Whenever issues arose around Vusi requiring information or clarity, I would send the same to Brown or call him. And when he responded, I would send the same to Vusi. I confirmed Brown was extremely confident about his strategy. As I was desperate, I agreed to go along with Brown's proposal. All messages referred to in the interactions with the minister, his officers, were sent to me by Brown, who advised that I send them to Vusi. I had no influence with the minister or any influence over him. There's a concern, the same message that I sent to Vusi in May 2025, in terms of Brown's instructions, was now I have learned, was sent to Vusi by Brown on the 4th of March. So the same message that Brown sent to Vusi on the 4th of March, Brown then sends me that message on the 6th of May, 2 months later, to send to Vusi, which I did, but I only realized this after the commission. So it was clear that both of them were playing me. And I could not understand why Brown would advise me to resend it to Vusi Thereafter, Vusi started to avoid me. At this stage, the Medicare 24 was being reported to the media to have been terminated by the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service. Vusi sent me messages regarding the cancellation of this tender, which made no sense to me for the following reasons. The SAPS contract was reported to have been terminated on the 12th of April. The termination letter of the SAPS contract was sent on the 12th of May. The minister had no influence or authority in the termination as the National Commissioner terminated it. Every undertaking and promise by Brown to meet with the minister or his office did not transpire. Again, with hindsight, I believe Brown was lying about the influence he had. I myself have no direct relationship to the minister. Instead, I was asked by Brown to continue sending messages to Vusi assuring him of a meeting with the minister, which I did, but nothing came of it. Vusi advised that his attorneys were handling the termination and that the amounts owed for work would be paid to Medicare 24. Despite this, no money was paid to me. Much later, I realized that Brown was misrepresenting his influence with the minister. I was quite upset about this because I know Brown for the last 15, 18 years from African, and I've always been assisting him and his foundations. In hindsight, it is clear Brown was playing me. I also suspect that he was not acting alone and that Vusi did so too. When one considers the messages, it is clear that I was caught in the middle of them. Vusi knew very well that I had no contacts, and Brown knew that I turned to him because I became reliant on his advices. Vusi ceased responding to me around May 2025. I can confirm that I, Ziggy, am approximately out of pocket of 8.25 million rand. This excludes the profit of the monies advanced to Medicare 24. Should I continue, Council?
Certainly. I'll ask clarificatory questions at the end.
Okay.
So I think continue through your statement.
I have to now turn to deal with remaining topics set out in the notice. The nature of the relationship with Minister Senzo Mkunu. I have no relationship with the minister, whether professional or personal. The nature of relationship with General Feroz Khan. I have no relationship with General Feroz Khan. I know him as we sometimes pray at the same mosque in Houghton when I'm in the Joburg area. The nature and extent of the relationship with Khotle Specialist. This is Brown's wife's company. I normally assist his wife and him through Khotle Specialist. So Brown's wife has a company. She does cleaning, she does gardening services. She sometimes does my gardening services. She does some cleaning for me. She looks after my plant equipment. She cleans the plant equipment. And this has been happening way before this. I've always been assisting Brown and his wife. Regarding the litigation to review and set aside in a tender in the Northwest, they approached me, a few business forums in the Northwest approached Mr. Brown Mkhotsi and his foundation. I think there was a catering tender at the Department of Northwest, and I must put it on record, I'm not a caterer. They approached me and they requested funding to challenge this tender in court. Now, I'm from the Northwest. I was born in Mafeking, so I'm very close to the people of Northwest. And on many occasions, we have always been marginalized. We've got the highest unemployment rate. We always losing out to jobs like these to people from other provinces. And I don't have an issue with that, but when people from the Northwest are disadvantaged, I take it to my heart. I then agreed to assist Brown with the foundation through these business forums to challenge this in court. And I provided them with some funding, which they then said they will pay back to me. I have often and at no cost helped many individuals and businesses in the Northwest. The nature and extent of my relationship with General Shedrick Sibia, I have no relationship with this individual. In conclusion, I would like to make the following remarks. I have been branded as an enabler due to my relationship with the minister. There is no factual basis to make such a statement. I confirm that I have never had a personal or professional relationship with the minister. I have never spoken to the minister. In fact, when one considers the fact the current Minister of Police only assumed office on the 3rd of July 2024, and the SEP contract was awarded before the tenure of the erstwhile Minister of Police, Becky Taylor. It is clear that it is impossible and as a fact untrue that I could have any pervasive influence over two different ministers of police. In addition, the SEP's contract was cancelled, leaving me out of pocket of approximately 8.25 million. If I were the enabler with a sustainable investment and an interest in the success, the contract would have not been cancelled. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Karim. I'm going to start by asking a few clarificatory questions, but we now reach the end of the sort of friendly side of this engagement. So even though these questions are clarificatory, know that you need to be on your guard going forward. If I understand your statement, you never had a written contract with Medicare 24 Tshwane. At no stage did you ever conclude a written contract with them.
No.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what wasn't clear to me was whether you ever saw a written contract between SAPS and Medicare 24. You say at a certain point you hadn't. Was it ever shown to you?
Yes, it was. I have a copy of the SLA. I was given a copy of the SLA.
And when was the SLA given to you?
Late in October sometime, 2024.
Then, if I understand your evidence again, the contract with Medicare 24 was going to be with Ziggy. Ziggy was the vehicle that...
That's correct.
And Ziggy's your company.
Correct.
Then you speak on page 5 of your statement, paragraph 23, of a net repayment of 1.75 million. You say in February 2025, payments started trickling in. By mid-March, I received only a net repayment of 1.75 million, which was paid into Tamiz.
Yes, that's correct, Council.
Now, how was that 1.7? I mean, we have seen two separate payments. A payment on the 4th of February from Medicare of 1.5 million to Tamiz, and a payment on the 17th of March to Tamiz of 1 million by Medicare, which is 2.5 million. My understanding of your evidence, and again, call me out if I'm wrong, is that you get to your net 175 this way. So there's 1.5 that's paid on 4 February. On the same day, from that 1.5, 500,000 is paid to an entity called Lutaga Trading Enterprises.
Correct.
So that's a net 1 million. And from the 1 million that was paid on the 17th of March, 250,000 was paid to Lutaga on the 22nd of March.
That's correct.
And okay, so that is the net 1.75 is derived that way. Then, at various points in your statement, you refer to messages that were exchanged between yourself and Mr. Mogotsi. Were these text messages, WhatsApp messages, signal messages? What message? How do you communicate with Mr. Mogotsi?
At that time, it was some text, but WhatsApps as well.
Now, you don't attach any of these messages. Are you able to produce them for us?
Council, I'll have to go back into my iCloud and see if they still exist there.
Your iCloud or your WhatsApp archive?
I remember I changed phones. So when you change phones, you sometimes don't have those messages still there.
And when did you change phones?
Changed phones a couple of times, Council.
Yeah, but dates is what I'm interested in.
Okay,
approximate dates.
well, as soon as new iPhones come out, we're always upgrading. So I think I've changed phones twice since 2024.
But again, dates I'm interested in. When did you,
I can't recall the dates, Council.
approximately how long have you had your current iPhone?
Current one is just a few months now.
And on your current iPhone, do you not import your old WhatsApp messages for an archive?
No,
But you would cooperate with the Commission in going onto your iCloud to try to retrieve your old WhatsApp communications with Mr. Mogotsi?
I'd have to consult my legal team on that, Council, and come back to you.
Well, maybe you can consult over one of the adjournments and come back to us on that score.